Hey guys, Mike here with StoneCoatCountertops.com. What's up? Home talk. We're gonna take this wood and we're gonna DIY our way to perfection and mimic Mother Nature to create our own marble, granite, natural stone look over wood using epoxy. What I'm gonna do with this MDF is I'm gonna cut it to length. I'm gonna do about a 4-foot vanity. They're typically 21 inches deep. So 21-inch cabinet, 22.5 with your 1.5 overhang. I like to make my epoxy projects appear thick, like natural stone. You can go as thick as you want, but I typically rip 1-inch strips from MDF and laminate them to the underside to give me a full 1.5 to make it look like natural 4cm granite. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's rip those strips. We'll adhere it with Titebond 2 wood glue. We'll shoot those with 23 gauge pin nails and we'll be ready for the next step. Let's give it a nice square cut here. You don't have to put a drop edge on your piece. That's optional to give it depth and beefiness. I'm gonna give this a square cut so it butts nice and tight here, and then I'll just mark the end here and I'll be ready to get a perfect fit. All right, we got our drop edge installed. Now it's time for choices. What kind of routed edge or rock face edge do I want on this project? I really like the look of a routed edge. It makes it resemble natural stone like a granite installation. I also like to do a chiseled edge. That gives it an upgraded, enhanced look that looks like natural stone was quarried and chiseled and installed in your home. I got a 50 grit sanding disc on my grinder. What I'm gonna do is just really grind an organic shape. Punch perfectionism in the face, have fun with it, and create a fun shape to add bondo to give you more realism when you're creating this rock face edge. That's really cool. I love pre-shaping it with the grinder. It takes a lot less bondo when you do that. Now I'm just gonna add a thin layer of bondo to give it some high and low points so I could sand that back to give a really smooth, chiseled edge appearance. Guys, pro tip, when you're working with bondo for the first time, do a little bit at a time. It does set up pretty fast depending on how hot it is in your environment. It's also stinky, so if you're not used to the smell of bondo, keep that in mind. It will smell up your environment. So if you can do it out in your shop or in a garage or even outside, that might make you happier. And I'm just trying to give it visual interest here. So I'm gonna just get some on the surface first. And then I'm gonna actually bring a lot of that off. I'm just using that edge right now as my palette. I'm not doing my effects yet. I'm just getting the edge coated. This is starting to set a little bit, watch this. So I'm just gonna tap this with my bondo spreader just to create some high and low points. And it doesn't have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's just creating some interest. You could even kind of give it some swipes like this. And what I'll do is, as it really starts to set, I'll come back and almost do like a knockdown finish like you would on drywall. See, this is starting to goo up. So I'm just gonna work fast here. And I almost got all 3 of my edges dialed in. All right, we'll wait about 20 minutes. We'll let that really harden. And I'll come back and sand it nice and smooth so I get really neat effects. And we're ready for our next step. Pro tip, leave the excess bondo on your spreader. After it hardens, crack it, it'll pop right off. No need for cleaning now. See how easy that cleans off? That's how we clean those off. We're gonna grab some sandpaper and my random orbital sander. We're gonna sand this smooth so when you rub your hand on it, it's not pokey or scratchy, and then we're ready to paint and primer this thing, and then epoxy. Okay, you can see this is nice and rough, and that's okay. Like, even at these high points, you can kind of knock these off, and we're gonna just sand this to get rid of a lot of this chunkiness. And then that epoxy and paint and everything really glues and binds it all together where this edge is extremely durable. This is a fun process. It's important to know the steps so you set yourself up for success. I'm gonna do 2 coats of paint and primer in one. In this project, I'm gonna choose black. You can do whatever base color you want, and that will also change the look of your project. Each of our recipes has different colors. Our project resource page on our website is a really good resource to show you all the different tips, tools, and tricks and recipes that we do to emulate Mother Nature. Go check that out anytime at stonecoatcountertops.com. I get most of the paint off of my roller, and then I'll start on the edge. Check this out. Your paint doesn't need to be perfect. It's giving it a background color, so all the imperfections and things don't really matter. Just make sure you get it all covered up. We'll let that dry. We'll come back, sand it with 220 grit, and do 1 more coat of paint and primer in one. All right, guys, the paint and primer in one first coat is all dry, and it's time to sand with 220 grit. I like using a foam backer with a 5-inch disc. These are great. We have a tool link on our website. It's where we get all of our tools that we love here in our shop that are designed for this process. All I'm gonna do is just rough this up and get a mechanical bond between coats. I'm also gonna get rid of high points, all your nibs and nubs. We'll sand those off, and we'll be ready for the epoxy. This thing is paint and primered in one. It's time to apply the epoxy. Let's get started. Guys, if you want to see how we finish this piece from start to finish, check out the next video. Visit us anytime at stonecoatcountertops.com. And until next time from Stone Coat Countertops, you got this. We'll see you on that video.